I was halfway through meal prepping for the week, chopping bell peppers with my earbuds in, when my phone started vibrating across the counter like it was possessed. Georgia. I almost didn't pick up. She only called when she needed something, or when she wanted to brag about her latest brand collab. But something in me paused, and I answered. June! Oh my God, June! Her voice cracked, frantic. It's Leo. He's really sick. We're at the hospital, and they're saying it's neurological, something rare. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I dropped the knife. What hospital? St. Francis in Glendale. They're transferring us to a specialist in Switzerland. They said it's urgent. He needs surgery, like this week. I don't have time to explain everything. It's happening so fast. Wait, back up. Switzerland? Yes, she sobbed. They don't have the tech here, or the surgeon. Insurance won't cover it. I'm trying to get a loan, but it's too slow. I need $42,000. I know it's insane, I know. Her breath hitched. But Leo could die, June. My name is June, and I've always been the one who cleaned up after my sister's disasters. I paid her rent when she got evicted. I picked her up at 2 a.m. when she got dumped on the side of the road. I even babysat Leo for 2 weeks straight when she accidentally booked overlapping influencer trips. But this was different. Have they confirmed the diagnosis? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Yes, it's called... Hold on. I heard rustling, a beep. Acute neurovascular degeneration. The doctor said it's super rare. He's in pain, June. He's 5. He doesn't understand what's happening. I pressed the speaker button and pulled up Google. Nothing came up. Are you sure that's what it's called? I don't know, okay? She snapped, then softened. I'm just scared. Please, I know you've been saving for a house, but this is Leo, my baby. I stared at the wall. My savings account sat at exactly $42,000. I'd spent 6 years building it, skipped vacations, worked overtime, lived in a shoebox apartment with peeling paint and neighbors who screamed through the walls. But Leo had nothing to do with his mother's chaos. How soon do you need it? She sniffled. Tonight. The flight's at 6 a.m. They need a deposit to admit him. I'll pay you back, I swear. I'll sell my car. I'll get a second job. I'll do anything. I hesitated. Send me the hospital's wire info. I'll transfer it directly. No, they only accept certified international wires from family, she said quickly. Just send it to me, and I'll handle it. Please, June, you're all I have. I wired the money at 9:46 p.m. that night. My hands shook the whole time. I didn't sleep. I kept picturing Leo in a hospital bed, scared and hooked up to machines. I even packed a bag, thinking I might fly out if things got worse. 3 days passed. No updates. I texted Georgia twice. No answer. On the 4th day, I opened Instagram out of habit while waiting for my coffee to brew. And there she was, Georgia, in a bright pink bikini, lounging on a yacht. The location tag, Dubai Marina. The caption, no worries, cha best life. Healing vibes. I blinked, scrolled. Another post, her sipping champagne in a gold-tiled spa. One more, shopping at the Dubai Mall, holding a Dior bag with a smug smile. My stomach flipped. I clicked her story. Manifestation is real, she said, twirling in front of a mirror. When you trust the universe, it provides. Don't let anyone tell you you can't live your dreams. I dropped my phone on the counter. My knees gave out, and I slid to the floor. My heart pounded so hard I thought I might throw up. I called her, straight to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I opened my texts. Still nothing. I sat there on the cold tile floor, surrounded by chopped vegetables and betrayal, and I felt something inside me crack wide open. Not just anger, not just heartbreak, something sharper. I stood up, grabbed my phone, and started taking screenshots. Every post, every story, every timestamp. If Georgia thought she could scam me, scam anyone, and walk away with a tan and a designer purse, she had no idea who she was dealing with. She wasn't the only one who could play dirty. I hadn't eaten in 2 days. My mouth was dry, my eyes burned, and I couldn't stop refreshing Georgia's Instagram. She posted again. This time she was poolside, sipping something neon green with a caption that read, "Grateful for the glow-up. Blessed, not stressed." I stared at the screen like it might catch fire in my hand. There was no hospital, no Switzerland, no surgery. Just her, living it up on my life savings. I slammed my laptop shut and grabbed my keys. "Where are you going?" Cameron asked, looking up from his desk as I stormed past him at work. "Lunch." "You don't take lunch." "I do now." I drove straight to Taylor's salon. She was a mutual friend, more Georgia's than mine, but we'd known each other since high school. If anyone had details, it'd be her. The salon smelled like hairspray and eucalyptus. Taylor was at the front desk, scrolling on her phone. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She looked up, surprised. "June? Wow, haven't seen you in forever." "I need to ask you something about Georgia." Her smile faltered. "Okay." I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshots. "She told me Leo needed emergency surgery. I gave her 42 grand. Then she went to Dubai." "Do you know anything about this?" Taylor's eyes widened. "Wait, what?" "She said he had some rare brain condition. I wired her everything I had." Taylor blinked. "She told me she got a donor, that it was part of her new brand journey. I thought she meant a sponsor or something." "She used her son as bait," I said flatly. "And I want to know who knew." Taylor lowered her voice. "Okay, look. A couple days ago, she came in here for a blowout before her flight. She was bragging about how she manifested the trip, said she found a way to fund it without touching her savings." I stared at her. She said, and I quote, "You just got to know how to pull heartstrings. People love a sick kid story." I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. "Did you know she meant me?" I asked. Taylor shook her head quickly. "No, I didn't know you were the donor. I swear. I thought maybe it was some guy." I nodded slowly, backing away. "Thanks." "June, wait. Are you okay?" I didn't answer. I walked out and sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. I needed confirmation. Real confirmation. I pulled up Aaron's number, George's ex, Leo's dad. We hadn't talked in years, not since their divorce, but I still had his contact saved. I hit call. He answered on the 3rd ring. "Hello?" "Aaron, it's June." A pause. "Hey, everything okay?" "Have you talked to Georgia lately?" "Not really. Just some texts about picking up Leo next weekend. Why?" "Has she told you anything about Leo being sick? Like, neurological?" Another pause. "What the hell are you talking about?" I exhaled slowly. "She called me last week, crying, said Leo needed emergency surgery in Switzerland. She said it was life or death. I gave her all my savings." "Jesus Christ!" His voice dropped. "Leo's fine. I FaceTimed him 2 nights ago. He was eating cereal and watching Paw Patrol." I closed my eyes. "She lied to me," I said. "Yeah. And she used our son to do it." He was quiet for a beat. "Send me everything you have. Screenshots, texts, whatever." "I will." "Good, because if she thinks she can mess with my kid like that, she's got another thing coming." I hung up and started compiling everything. Screenshots, bank transfers, her texts, her posts. I built a folder on my desktop and labeled it Georgia Evidence. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just worked. That night, around 11 p.m., I got a text from Georgia. "Hey, sis, just checking in. Leo's doing okay, but we're still in recovery mode. Could use some extra help if you're able. Love you." I stared at it. Recovery mode? I clicked on her story. She was at a rooftop bar, laughing with some guy in a white suit. The caption, "When in Dubai," I screenshotted that too. Then I replied, "Of course. Let me know what you need." Let her think I was still playing along. Let her keep digging. Because now, I had the shovel. I spent the next 3 days doing what Georgia never expected me to do. Dig. I called the hospital she claimed Leo had been admitted to in Switzerland. I found the number on Google, dialed with shaking fingers, and asked to speak to someone in patient services. "Sorry, we have no record of that name," the woman said, polite but firm, "and we do not offer the type of surgery you described." I thanked her and hung up. Then I called the hospital in Glendale, St. Francis. Same story. No record of Leo. No ER visit. No transfer. I opened my bank's website and downloaded the wire transfer receipt. The money had gone straight into Georgia's personal account. No middleman. No charity. No medical billing. I added it all to the folder. Every post. Every timestamp. Every lie. Then I opened a new tab and typed, "How to file a report for financial fraud involving family." The internet delivered. By the end of the night, I had submitted a detailed complaint to the local police department. I didn't expect them to jump on it. Family stuff gets messy. But it was a start. Next, I submitted an anonymous tip to Child Protective Services. I didn't lie. I told them Georgia had left Leo with various sitters while she traveled internationally, and that she used her child's name in a fake medical fundraiser. I didn't mention the money. Not yet. Then I emailed everything, every shred of evidence, to Aaron. He called me 10 minutes later. "I'm sick," he said. "Actually sick. I had no idea. She told me she was taking time to heal. I thought she meant emotionally." "She used Leo," I said. "She used me." "I'm calling my lawyer tomorrow. She's not getting him back." I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. "Good." He was quiet for a moment. "Thank you for telling me." She didn't leave me a choice. The next morning, I got a new text from Georgia. "Hey, babe. Things are still really rough. Leo's having some post-op issues, and the doctors say he might need a second procedure. I wouldn't ask if I wasn't desperate, but could you help again? Maybe 10K? I'll pay you back. Promise." I stared at the screen, my hands ice cold. I typed back, "Of course. Let's meet and talk." She replied instantly, "Yes, I'm flying back tomorrow. Let's do brunch. I need a hug." I didn't answer. I called Cameron instead. "Hey," he said, chewing something. "You okay?" "I need a favor." "Name it." "I need you to help me record something, legally." He stopped chewing. "What kind of recording?" "I'm meeting Georgia. She's going to lie to my face again. I want it on tape." He exhaled. "You're serious about this?" "She asked for more money. After everything." "Jesus. I'm done being the idiot sister." He paused. "I've got a mic you can clip to your bra strap. It's small, clear audio, Perfect. We met in the office parking lot the next morning. Cameron handed me a small velvet pouch. Battery's fresh. Just press the button once. You'll feel it vibrate. Thanks. Be careful, okay? I'm not the one lying. Still, my hands were shaking when I walked into the diner. Georgia was already there, wearing oversized sunglasses and sipping an iced coffee like she hadn't just scammed her own sister. June! She squealed, standing up to hug me. Oh my God, I've missed you. I hugged her back, pressing the mic into her shoulder as I did. You look good, I said. She smiled, sliding back into the booth. It's been a whirlwind. Leo's stable now, but it's been a nightmare. The doctors are so cold. And the language barrier? Ugh. I nodded, pretending to listen. So, what's the new issue? She sighed dramatically. They think there's fluid buildup. Maybe a clot. They're monitoring it, but if it gets worse, he'll need another procedure. I tilted my head. In Switzerland? Yeah. Or Germany. Depends on the specialist. I'm waiting to hear. I sipped my water. And the cost? 10,000. Maybe 12. I know it's a lot, but I'm tapped. Flights, hotels, meds. It's all adding up. You said you were staying in the hospital. She blinked. I was, but then they moved him to outpatient care. I raised an eyebrow. In Dubai? Her face froze. I saw your posts, I said softly. The yacht, the spa, shopping. She laughed nervously. Oh, those were old photos. I scheduled them to post, to keep up appearances. My followers expect content. Right, I said. Her phone buzzed on the table. A comment popped up on her lock screen. You're glowing, girl. That Dubai sun hits different. I didn't react. She didn't notice. I reached into my bag, pulled out an envelope, and slid it across the table. What's this? She asked. Something to help. She opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, a printout of the wire transfer, with fraud written across it in red Sharpie. Her mouth dropped open. What the hell is this? Proof, I said, of what you did. She stood up, eyes wild. You're insane. Sit down, I said quietly, or I'll play the recording. She sat, and I smiled. The trap was set. Georgia stared at the paper like it might bite her. You think this is funny? She hissed, crumpling the page in her hand. You ambushed me with fake drama? I didn't flinch. You want to talk about fake drama? You lied about your son having brain surgery. I never said brain surgery, she snapped. You're twisting things. I leaned in. I have the wire, the texts, the recording from just now. You said Leo had fluid buildup and needed another procedure. In Germany this time, right? Want to keep going? She looked around the diner like someone might come save her. No one did. You don't get it, she said, lowering her voice. I'm building something. A platform. You think brands care about a single mom unless she's got a story? I gave them one. You gave them a lie. She rolled her eyes. It's marketing, June. Everyone embellishes. You think those cancer GoFundMes are all real? People lie all the time. You're not people. You're my sister. She paused, then softened her tone, like she always did when she wanted something. I was desperate. You don't know what it's like, trying to raise a kid alone with no support. No one helping me. You had me, I said. Every time. Until now. She looked down, her voice quieter. I didn't mean to hurt you. Save it. Her phone buzzed again. Another Instagram notification. I glanced at the screen. A new comment under a photo of her on a beach. Living your best life, Mama. I pulled up my phone and tapped open the voice memo app. Just so you know, I said, tapping stop, that entire conversation was recorded. Her eyes widened. You're serious? You bet. You can't do that. That's illegal. Not in this state. She sat back, arms crossed. So what? You're gonna post it? Ruin me? I smiled. Not me. She didn't ask who. She didn't need to. I stood up and dropped a 20 on the table. Good luck with your platform. June, she called after me, her voice shaking now. You're not this person. I stopped at the door and looked back. Neither were you. I walked out into the sun, heart pounding. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel bad. I just felt done. Back at my apartment, Cameron was waiting. Well, he asked, standing in the hallway with a Red Bull in one hand and his laptop in the other. She gave me everything I needed, I said, brushing past him. We sat at my kitchen table. I handed him the recording. She admitted to the lie, tried to spin it as marketing. Cameron shook his head. She's got no shame. I want it all backed up. Cloud, hard drive, everything. He nodded, already plugging in cables. What's the next move? I opened my laptop and pulled up her PR rep's contact. I'd found it last night in her tagged posts. A woman named Lacey who managed a few mid-level influencers. I'm going to pretend I'm a journalist, I said. Say I'm working on a piece about donation fraud. Ask for comment. Cameron grinned. You're really doing this. She used Leo. She used me. She's not getting away with it. He hit play on the audio. Georgia's voice filled the room. They think there's fluid buildup. Maybe a clot. 10,000. I'm tapped. Followers expect content. Cameron whistled. That's gold. I sent the email. Subject: Urgent inquiry regarding Georgia's fundraising claims. Body: Hi, Lacey. I'm working on a piece investigating alleged donation fraud involving social media influencers. I'd like to give Georgia the opportunity to comment before publication. Please let me know if she'd prefer to issue a statement. I hit send. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Is this June? Yes. This is Lacey. What exactly are you accusing Georgia of? I kept my voice calm. I'm not accusing, just collecting facts. She received $42,000 from me under the claim that her son needed emergency surgery. I have proof that wasn't true. Silence. I also have a voice recording of her admitting it was fabricated for content. I thought you'd want to know before your agency is attached to a scandal. Lacey exhaled. We'll be reviewing our relationship with her. Thank you for the heads up. I hung up. Cameron raised an eyebrow. That's one domino. The next fell faster than I expected. By the next morning, Georgia's latest post had over 100 comments calling her a fraud. Someone had leaked the voice clip. Not me. Maybe Lacey. Maybe Aaron. I didn't care. I scrolled through the chaos. You scammed your own family? Unfollowed. Gross. How do you sleep at night? I clicked on her profile. A new story popped up. She was crying in her car, mascara smudged, voice shaking. I just want to say, I never meant to hurt anyone. People don't understand what it's like to survive as a single mom. The pressure, the judgment. I made mistakes, but I'm human. I watched it twice. Then I checked my email. A message from Aaron. Lawyers filing for full custody. CPS is involved. Just wanted you to know. Thank you again. I closed my laptop and leaned back in my chair. The trap had worked. But I didn't feel like celebrating. Not yet. The knock on Georgia's door came exactly 2 days after the video leaked. I was parked across the street in a borrowed Honda, sunglasses on, hoodie up. I watched as 2 CPS agents stepped onto her porch. She opened the door in a matching velour tracksuit, hair piled on top of her head, no makeup. Not her usual brand. They showed her badges. She froze. She tried to smile. She even laughed like it was a mix-up. Then they stepped inside. That was the moment I knew it was real. No turning back. I didn't stay long. I didn't need to. I'd seen what I came for. Later that afternoon, Aaron called. "They found Leo with a 16-year-old babysitter," he said, voice tight. "She left him for 3 days while she was in Dubai." My stomach turned. 3 days? Kid didn't even have a car, ran out of groceries. Leo was eating cereal and string cheese. I closed my eyes. "She's done," Aaron said. "My lawyer's filing for emergency custody. CPS is backing it." "Good," I said. "He deserves better." He was quiet for a second. "So do you." That night, Georgia's PR team officially dropped her. I saw the statement on Twitter. "We are no longer affiliated with Georgia. We do not condone fraudulent behavior or the exploitation of children for personal gain." Her brand deals vanished one by one. The teeth whitening kit, the protein shakes, the waist trainer. All gone. Her follower count dropped by the thousands. I didn't post anything. I didn't comment. I just watched. The next day, she called me. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice was low, almost whispery. "You think you've won? You haven't. You've just made me dangerous." Click. I stared at the screen. Cameron was sitting on my couch, scrolling through Reddit. "She's trending," he said. "There's a whole thread on r Scammer Watch. They're calling her the sick kid grifter." I didn't smile. "Do you regret it?" he asked. I looked at him. No. But I didn't feel proud either. The next morning, I got a call from the DA's office. They were opening an investigation into fraud and child endangerment. They wanted me to testify. I said yes. The courtroom was cold. Georgia sat at the defendant's table, pale and quiet, her hair flat and unstyled. She didn't look at me as I walked past. Aaron sat behind me, Leo's stuffed dinosaur in his lap. He gave me a small nod. When they called my name, I stood. The bailiff swore me in. I took the stand. I told the truth. I told them about the phone call, the fake diagnosis, the money, the second ask, the recording, the trip, the babysitter, the cereal and string cheese. Georgia never looked up. When it was over, I stepped down and walked past her. She whispered, "You ruined my life." I stopped. "No," I said. "You did." Outside, reporters were waiting. I kept my head down and walked straight to my car. Cameron was waiting at my apartment with takeout. "You did it," he said, handing me a box of noodles. I nodded. He sat beside me, chopsticks in hand. "So, what now?" I looked out the window. "I don't know." The next day, the story hit the local news. They showed Georgia's mugshot, then a photo of Leo smiling in a park with Aaron. I watched it once. Then I turned off the TV. A week passed. Then 2. Georgia was sentenced to probation and community service. No jail time, but CPS was still involved. Aaron got full custody. I didn't hear from her again. Until I did. A new voicemail. Her voice was calm this time. "I'm writing something, a book, about all of this, and you're in it. You're the villain, obviously, but don't worry, I'll make you interesting." I deleted it. Later that night, Cameron told me she'd started posting again. Low-key, a new handle, different vibe, pity posts and healing quotes. "She's trying to rebrand," he said. I shrugged. "Let her." He looked at me. "You okay?" I nodded. "Getting there," he smiled. "You know, for what it's worth, I think you saved that kid's life." I didn't answer. I just looked out the window as the city lights flickered on, one by one. I was folding laundry when my phone buzzed with a number I hadn't seen in over a decade. I froze. "Hello?" I answered, cautious. "June, it's your mother." I didn't speak. "I heard about Georgia," she said. "Thought maybe we should talk." I almost hung up. Instead, I said, "Why now?" "Because what's happening isn't new," she replied. "And if you're smart, you'll want to understand why." We met at a diner off the freeway, neutral ground. She looked older than I remembered, more tired, less sharp. Her lipstick was faded, hair pulled back in a loose bun. No drama, no performance. "Still like tea?" she asked, sliding into the booth. "I'll stick with coffee." She nodded. "Fair enough." We sat in awkward silence until the waitress came and left. Then she leaned in. "Georgia's not just selfish, she's sick." I stared at her. "Don't you dare use that as an excuse." "It's not an excuse," she said. "It's a diagnosis." I blinked. "She was 15, she continued, caught shoplifting, but it wasn't about the makeup. She told the cops she was trying to build her image. She was obsessed with being seen, with being wanted." I frowned. "That sounds like Georgia. They sent her for a psych eval. She was placed on a 72-hour hold. I didn't tell you. I thought I could fix it. Thought if I just kept things normal, it would pass." "You hid a psychiatric hold from me?" "You were 17, applying to colleges. I didn't want to burden you." I laughed, bitter. "You didn't want to deal with it." She didn't argue. "They said she had narcissistic personality traits. Not a full diagnosis. She was too young. But it was there. The entitlement, the manipulation, the lack of empathy." I shook my head. "You let her raise a child." "I didn't let her do anything. She cut me off, said I was toxic, said I ruined her life." I stared at the table. Maybe we both did. She reached across the table, but I pulled my hand back. "Why are you really here?" I asked. She hesitated. "Because this doesn't end with Georgia. It started with me. And if you don't stop it, it'll pass to Leo." I looked up. "You think I'm exaggerating," she said, "but I see the signs, the way she uses him, the way she talks about him like he's a brand extension. That boy is 5, and already he's been taught that love is transactional." I swallowed hard. "You want to end this curse?" she said. "Make sure she loses everything, or it repeats." I sat back, stunned. The waitress came with our drinks. I stared at the steam rising from my cup. "I already did enough damage," I said. "Not yet." I narrowed my eyes. "You want me to destroy her." "I want you to protect Leo." She slid a small envelope across the table. "What's this?" Photos. From the hospital stay. Notes. The report. I didn't touch it. "Do what you want," she said, standing. "But pretending she's just a bad person won't help anyone. She's broken, and broken people break others." She walked out without another word. I sat there for a long time. Later that night, I opened the envelope. Inside were a few grainy photos. Georgia in a hospital gown, arms crossed, scowling at the camera. A copy of the 5150 form, notes from a social worker, displays grandiosity, manipulative behavior, emotional detachment, recommends long-term therapy and monitoring. I closed the folder. Cameron came over around 9. "You look like you've seen a ghost," he said, flopping onto the couch. My mom showed up. He sat up. "What?" "She told me Georgia was hospitalized when we were teens. Psych hold. Said it runs deep." Cameron whistled. "That explains a lot. She said if I don't finish this, Leo's next." He was quiet for a moment. "Do you believe her?" I nodded slowly. "Yeah, I do." He looked at the folder in my hands. "So what now?" I stood and walked to my desk. "I finish it." The courthouse smelled like old paper and nerves. I sat in the front row, clutching the folder my mother had given me. Inside were the documents, proof of Georgia's past, her diagnosis, her pattern. I hadn't planned to use it, but after everything, I knew I had to. Aaron sat beside me, dressed in a navy suit. Leo's dinosaur peeked out from his bag. "You ready?" he asked quietly. I nodded. "You?" He gave a tight smile. "I've been ready for years." The bailiff called Georgia's name. She walked in wearing a beige blazer, hair slicked back, no lashes or highlighter in sight. Her lawyer whispered something to her, and she nodded without looking at the crowd. She didn't glance at me. Not once. The judge called the case. State versus Georgia, May, charges of fraud, child endangerment, and misuse of charitable funds. The prosecutor stood. "We have testimony, digital evidence, and witness statements. We're asking for probation with mandatory counseling, full custody to the father, and supervised visitation." Georgia's lawyer stood next. "My client is remorseful. She's already suffered significant public backlash. She's lost her job opportunities, her income, and her reputation. We request leniency." The judge turned to me. "Ms. Foster, would you like to make a statement?" I stood, heart pounding. I walked to the front, cleared my throat, and unfolded the paper. "My name is June. I'm Georgia's sister, the person she called when she said her son was dying, the person she lied to, stole from, and used." I looked up. "She told me Leo needed emergency surgery, that he might die. I wired her every dollar I had, money I'd saved for a home. I didn't hesitate because I love that boy. And I believed her." Georgia stared straight ahead. Then I found out she was in Dubai, shopping, drinking, posting bikini pics. Leo wasn't sick. He was left with a teenage babysitter. No food, no supervision. I held up the folder. "This isn't new. Georgia's been manipulating people since we were kids. She was hospitalized for it once. I didn't know until recently, but now I do. And I won't ignore it." The judge raised an eyebrow. "You're submitting that as evidence?" I nodded. "Yes, Your Honor." I handed it to the bailiff. "I don't want revenge," I said. "I want Leo safe, and I want the court to understand. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This was a pattern, and it won't stop unless someone stops it." I stepped back. The judge flipped through the folder, his expression unreadable. Georgia's lawyer stood again. "Your Honor, that information is from a juvenile record." The judge held up a hand. "It's relevant, and it's damning." He turned to Georgia. "Ms. May, your actions were reckless, deceitful, and dangerous. You used your child as a prop. You exploited your sister's love, and you endangered a minor to fund a vacation." Georgia finally looked up. Her lips parted like she might speak, but nothing came out. I'm sentencing you to 2 years of probation, 500 hours of community service, and mandatory weekly therapy. You will have no unsupervised contact with your son. Custody is awarded to the father, effective immediately. She blinked. Once. Twice. Then the gavel hit. I exhaled. It was done. Outside, reporters swarmed. Microphones, cameras, flashes. June, do you have a comment? Did you expect this outcome? Is your sister a danger to her child? I pushed through them, Aaron close behind. We got to the parking lot. He stopped me by my car. Thank you, he said. For everything. I nodded, eyes stinging. He opened his bag and pulled out the dinosaur. Leo wants you to have this, I smiled, hugging it to my chest. He still doesn't know everything, Aaron said, just that you helped. That's all he needs to know. He hesitated. If you ever want to see him. I do. He nodded. You're part of his family, always. He walked away. I climbed into my car and sat there, staring at the stuffed toy in my lap. Then my phone buzzed. Voicemail. I hit play. George's voice, soft and slow. You think you've won, but you've only made me dangerous. I deleted it. Then I drove home in silence. The dinosaur seat-belted in beside me. The beach was nearly empty, just a few joggers and a woman walking her dog. I kicked off my shoes and stepped into the sand, the breeze cool against my face. Daniel was already there, sitting on the old driftwood log near the rocks, a coffee in each hand. You're late, he said, smiling as I walked up. Court ran long, I replied, sitting beside him. Judge had opinions. He handed me the coffee. Hazelnut, no sugar. You remembered. I remember a lot about you. I took a sip and stared at the waves. The sky was overcast, but it felt right. Quiet. Honest. He glanced at me. You okay? I nodded. Getting there. We sat in silence for a few minutes, the kind that didn't feel awkward. Then he said, Cameron told me what happened. With Georgia, the whole thing. I didn't respond. He said you were a different person now. I looked at him. Is that a bad thing? He shook his head. No, just heavier. I laughed once. Yeah, that's about right. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. You know, I used to think you were too good, too perfect. You broke up with me because I was boring. I broke up with you because I didn't think I deserved someone who never asked for anything. I turned to him. And now? Now I see someone who finally did. I smiled, but it didn't quite reach my eyes. He nudged me. You ever think about starting over? Like, with you? He shrugged. Or just with someone who knows what it's like to carry too much. I looked down at the sand between my toes. Maybe? He didn't push. After a while, I stood. I should go. Therapy's in an hour. He raised an eyebrow. You? Therapy. Turns out revenge doesn't fix everything. He laughed. Let me walk you. We walked in silence back to the parking lot. As we reached my car, I saw Cameron leaning against the hood, arms crossed, holding his phone. You're not gonna like this, he said. What? He handed me the screen. It was a video, posted to a new Instagram account. George's face filled the frame, makeup-free, eyes red. This is hard to talk about, she said, voice shaking. But I'm writing a memoir about betrayal, about being scapegoated by my own sister, about surviving lies, not telling them. The title flashed across the screen. Blood isn't always family. a mother's story. I stared at it. Daniel whistled. Wow, she's really going for it. Cameron shook his head. She's painting you as the manipulator. Says you made up the whole thing to steal Leo. I handed the phone back. Let her write. Cameron blinked. That's it? She needs a story, I said. I already wrote her ending. He smiled a little. You really are different. I opened my car door, tossed my sandals inside. Daniel stepped closer. So, dinner sometime? I paused. Not yet. He nodded. I'll wait. I drove home with the windows down. The apartment was quiet. I set the coffee on the counter and walked to the bookshelf, pulled out the folder, George's file, and slid it into a box labeled Done. Then I picked up the little dinosaur from the shelf and set it on my nightstand. My phone buzzed. A text from Aaron. Leo's asking if you can come to his school art show tomorrow. He made something for Aunt June. I replied, wouldn't miss it. I plugged in my phone, turned off the light, and crawled into bed. For the first time in weeks, I slept without dreaming.